is the 108.1 FNFB podcast. I'm your host, Darian.
And I'm Mike.
And this is episode 9. We're going to do the week 8. I'm getting my weeks confused. The week 8 NFL picks. We're going to pick the games and talk about them a little bit and, talk some football. So, I guess we'll start with tonight's game. Thursday, the Thursday night game is the Miami Dolphins at the Houston Texans. This game could be really fun, but it could also be really not fun because both these teams have been in some weird, interesting games that have come down to the wire and had some drama the last few weeks, but neither of them play that much football that's very fun to me. Like, it's not aesthetically pleasing football. That's to say the least. It's really ugly. And is Blake Osweiler going to play again?
You mean Brock?
I'm sorry. We were talking about Blake Bortles before we started this podcast. Yes, I mean I almost just said Blake Bortles, but I said Osweiler. But yes, I mean Brock Osweiler.
Yeah. It's last I heard a couple days ago, Tannehill is expected to not be playing.
Okay. All right. So it's going to be the Brock show back in the. So this is the Brock Osweiler revenge game for sending me to Cleveland to get cut. So there's not a lot I want to say about this game, so we don't have to stay on it very long. But I do want to say that I want to get who reported this. I just saw it, and now I can't see it. I'm sorry.
Once you've seen it, you can never unsee it.
Yeah. It might have been PFT. That's where I see it right now. I'm not sure. I apologize if this isn't actually the first person who broke it, but Albert Wilson is headed to IR for the Dolphins, and he's actually been a key offensive contributor for them. He's had a bunch of big plays. He kind of torched the Raiders. He torched a few teams this year with his speed. So he's out for the foreseeable future. He won't have to have surgery, but it is a hip injury, and it will probably cost him the rest of the season. Unless of course they make the playoffs. But that's interesting because he really has been kind of a, like a Tyreek Hill light, super light Tyreek Hill, but he's been like that speedy, fast guy who's been able to make some stuff happen and have some explosive element to that Miami offense that they've kind of been lacking because they have no playmakers at all on the entire team on offense. So that kind of sucks for them. But they are playing Houston, who's not got a great defense. Hey, I don't know. This is a weird team to see. I was actually going to pick Miami before we started, and then I remembered that it just came out that Albert Wilson's out for the year. So I think I'm going to go with Houston because they're at home. Thursday night games are weird, and Houston's kind of and by the way, I don't know if you know this or not. I think Houston's on a 4-game win streak.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Texans are. They've won their last 1, 2, 3. Yeah, because they started 0-3. They lost to the Pats, the Titans, and the Giants, and they have not lost.
They lost to the Giants.
Yeah, and it was in Houston too. And they have not lost since. They beat Indianapolis, Dallas, Buffalo, and Jacksonville. So they're on a 4-0 run, and they're probably going to continue that with a win against Miami. That's who I'm taking, is Houston.
Yeah, that's who I'm taking too. I mean, you pretty much covered everything there is to say about that game. I think they're getting warmed up. Their defense isn't that bad, really. It's 9th.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think Brock Osweiler's gonna go crazy in that game. I gotta take the Texans too.
I want to see. Well, I won't be watching the World Series that night because it's not on, so I guess I'll watch basketball because I'm definitely not watching that game. So, all right, let's move on to our Sunday game. So we've got a London game first on the slate. So
at 9:30.
9:30 Eastern time. So if you're in California, it's super early, which is cool. I like waking up.
Just stay up late all night Saturday night drinking, and then watch it at like 6:30 in the morning. It'll be a fun game that way.
Yeah, exactly. But then you'll miss all the other games because you'll be drunk and you'll also be asleep because you stayed up all night. So really only do that if you're an Eagles fan or a Jaguars fan because that's the game. It's Philadelphia, Jacksonville in London. And by the way, because both teams are actually 3-4, I'm pretty sure I saw this stat. I think Ian Rappaport tweeted it last week sometime. Maybe it was Greg Rosenthal. I'm not sure. I don't think there's ever been two teams with winning records in London that played a game.
Nope, never.
So, and that's still the case. So,
yep.
I don't know. I'm not super impressed with either of these teams. What do you think about this game?
I'm not terribly impressed with them either. I mean, I don't know. It depends. When are the Eagles going to wake up and start playing? Is what I want to know.
Well,
I mean, the Jaguars are the Jaguars, right? Their offense is hit or miss. The defense is solid. But the Jaguars aren't going to have Fournette again.
Right.
You know?
Right. And I think that's been one of the most underrated things of this year, that question you had, because that's actually very interesting to me. When are the Eagles going to wake up and play like they played last year? Or, I mean, this may be taboo to some people, but maybe they aren't the team they were last year. Maybe maybe they are 3-4, you know? Maybe they are a 9-7 team who's, you know, they're fine, but they're primed for a wild card exit or a divisional round exit, and they were a flash in the pan last year. You know, I don't know. I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying it's possible. So, I don't know. I do think it's an interesting question though. When are the Eagles going to wake up? That being said, I cannot, in good conscience, pick Blake Bortles to win an NFL game anymore. I've just seen too much, and this is with, by the way, him torching my New England Patriots several weeks ago. Still can't pick him. Can't do it. So, got to go with Philly. Sorry.
Yep. Same here.
So, yeah, we can move on from that one. It's not a lot to talk about. AFC West matchup. The Denver Broncos and the Kansas City Chiefs. Interesting game a couple weeks ago on Monday Night Football. Denver is a hard place to play. Kansas City is also a hard place to play. And you also have to stop, apparently, the next coming of God at quarterback. Patrick Mahomes is very, very good. And you and I don't know if we're on record. I don't think we are. I don't think we ever said it on the podcast before we did this, like before the season started. But I'm going to out us both, so I don't care. We both thought that Patrick Mahomes was actually going to be bad. We actually genuinely both thought they were not going to be a good team because he was not ready and it was going to be bad. You and I are idiots. He is incredible. He's so hard to stop. He's so athletic. He's so accurate. He's incredible. He's explosive.
Well, see, that was the thing. So, sorry to interrupt. That was the thing that I wasn't confident in, that I thought was, okay, so I'm going to out myself again. I don't think Dak Prescott's all that great because I think he has accuracy problems.
I don't think he is either.
Especially when he's moving. And so, you know, I kind of kept all the little tidbits of Mahomes I was seeing. I was like, oh, yeah, on the run, not really that accurate. But the receiver caught it. This was last year in preseason. And I take back everything I said. Yeah. He's gotten more and more accurate as the season's gone on the run, and I thought that's where the problem was going to be because I knew he was going to have to be on the run. Yeah, I take back what I said. I think the dude is – now, take this all with a grain of salt. Once everybody gets film on him, you know, whatever. But as far as what I thought the problem was, getting film on somebody doesn't make them inaccurate all of a sudden. So I take back what I said. I think he's extremely accurate on the move, and I'm very surprised.
Yeah, I'm extremely surprised by the blow-up he's had, and I don't know if it's to do with just that they've figured out how to make the perfect offense around him, and he's just excelling in it because it's exactly what they needed, or if it's just that he's just so damn good, you know? It's hard to tell. I mean, so they're 6-1. They just beat the piss out of the Bengals.
Can you say piss on the podcast?
I just did.
Piss.
There we go. So, but they did. They obliterated the Cincinnati Bengals last week. And so, I mean, okay, so they played 7 games, and he's only not thrown at least 4 touchdowns 3 times this year. Like, that's crazy to me. And one of them, by the way, and two of them were in. So one was in Denver. He only threw a touchdown, but they still won that game. And the 0 touchdowns and 2 picks game against the really good Jaguars defense, and weirdly enough, the Kansas City defense carried that game and actually won that anyway. And then obviously the other game was he threw 3 instead of 4, but it was against San Francisco. So like it's insane. It's insane. It's incredible. So he's on pace for what's he on pace for? 48 touchdowns or something crazy like that.
Yeah, some ridiculous number.
It's absurd. He's like I said. I think that Denver's going to give him a game because the Chiefs and Broncos always play pretty competitive games. So, and I don't think that defense is a pushover defense, but I don't trust Case Keenum to be able to keep up with Patrick Mahomes on Mahomes' turf. So I'm taking Kansas City in like a 10-point win.
Yep, I'm with you on that.
I just
don't have a lot to say other than that. You pretty much covered it. I just think that the Chiefs are going to outscore them. I think the Chiefs' defense might be waking up a little bit. So we'll see what happens. But we got to go to the next one. If you would have said, excuse me, if you would have said back in, I don't know, February, March, July, hey, you know what? I think the Browns at week 8 are going to be one game out from the Steelers.
Yeah. Well, I what I would have said is
without Josh Gordon.
Right, well, right, exactly. What I would have said to you is, wow, Pittsburgh's not having a good year, and you know what? They're kind of not. They've been really like in the past few weeks. They've actually been much more. They've been a little more trusty. Like, but I'm not sure that team's going to the playoffs this year. I don't want to alarm anybody, but I'm not sure they're a playoff team.
I don't want to alarm anybody.
I would love to pick Cleveland here, but the past few weeks they've kind of been really making me sad. They've just been. I honestly think it started when they lost that overtime game to the Raiders a couple weeks ago, and they've just kind of been reeling. They did beat. They did show toughness that next week in overtime against the Ravens, and they actually won that one out. So that was really, I was like, okay, so you guys beat a really good defense at home, which is awesome, and you pulled it out. And then they go and let the LA Chargers come to town and stomp on them. And I'm like, wow. And then they lost in overtime to Tampa Bay. But, man, this team has been playing. So this team, okay. It's crazy. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4. They've got 4 overtime games played, which is just absurd. Like, that's crazy. They've played 4. Like, they've been the most interesting team basically week to week, aside from the Charger game, to watch every week, which is crazy. Like, it's the Browns. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So who
I mean, at least they're in every game except the Chargers.
Right. And exactly. So who are you taking in this? I'm curious. It's in Pittsburgh.
I'm taking the Steelers because it's going to rain and it's going to be cold, right, and James Conner is going to just pound the ball down their throat.
I agree.
Although, the Browns traded Carlos Hyde away because Nick Chubb was averaging three carries a game at 10.5 yards a carry.
Right.
He's like, I got to give him the ball more. And he's like, I need to give him the ball more. And then the next week it'd be 3 yards and he'd get a touchdown every freaking game.
Yeah. So
they got rid of Carlos Hyde. So now it's going to be the Nick Chubb show.
Yeah, it is. And he was awesome at Georgia. I think he's still awesome. But I don't know if it's enough to just, but if they get, I don't know, man. I hope this game goes overtime and we get another. And I hope Twitter just blowing up the whole time, like, oh my God, could the Steelers Browns tie twice this year? Because I would just lose my mind, and I think everyone would collectively. But I can't. I haven't seen enough out of this Browns team to pick them consistently yet. I've taken some shots, and every time I have, they kind of let me down. So I'm taking the safer pick, and it's Pittsburgh. It's at home. Like you said, it might be crappy weather. It's kind of hard to pick against them, at Heinz Field.
Yeah.
Unless they're playing the Patriots, because they always come in there and beat their ass. So, but let's move on to the next game. We've got the Redskins at the New York Football Giants. What do you think?
Redskins.
Yeah, that's right. Redskins. Yeah. So the Giants are blowing it up. We're not going to talk about the game actually at all because I think the Redskins are going to win by a lot. So maybe not a lot, but like 20 to like 10 or something. Which is a lot to Eli because he if it's more than 3 points, he's never gonna come back on you. No offense to Eli.
Unless you're the Patriots.
All right, well that's uncalled for. But no, yeah, I don't want to do this podcast with you anymore. Goodbye. No, but seriously, I hate you. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry, for real.
They traded Snacks away. They traded Eli Apple away.
Yeah, they traded Eli Apple.
Eli Manning's on pace for a record number of sacks, and he's old, so he's been in this game for a year or two.
He's been sacked how many times already? Like, I saw it. I just saw it on Twitter.
It's like 20 something.
I think it's like, is it like 18? I thought it was 18. It could be more than that.
It's silence as we both Google.
Yeah, because this is good radio.
This isn't a radio. This is a podcast.
All right. You know what I mean, bud. I swear I saw it. I didn't see it.
Well, I can tell you thus far this year, he has been sacked an amazing... Oh, they don't have totals. Nice. 2, 8, 12...
I'm guessing 18.
No, 22.
Oh, wow. Okay, I was wrong. So, yeah. That's a lot. He's getting hit a lot, and he's not very sturdy. He's kind of old.
Oh, my bad. I missed the whole week 24 times.
Oh, okay. In
7 games.
7. Ugh. And did they have? I think they had their. Maybe they didn't have their bye yet. No, they haven't because they have 1 and 6, so they didn't have their bye yet. That's ugly. Yeah. Like I said, I didn't want to talk about this game at all. Really, Washington's going to win by probably 10, or it'll be a close game till the end, and they'll still kick a game-winning field goal and make the Giants 1 and 7. But I mean, I haven't seen a lot out of Odell Beckham this year. I don't know if it's coming off an ankle injury the whole year last year. I don't know what it is, but he doesn't impress me that much. He hasn't really taken over a game. Saquon Barkley's been fine. Like he's awesome. He's not fine. He's awesome. But I mean, it's hard when you have a crappy offensive line and a crappy quarterback and a crappy everything to be really awesome, which I think he is. So, yeah, they're blowing up the defense. They traded Snacks Harrison today Wednesday to Detroit. They traded Eli Apple to the New Orleans Saints. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think Eli Apple was any good, but I'm kind of surprised by the Snacks trade, to be honest with you. I thought he was pretty good. I don't know if he's playing well, but
they said that he wasn't really a fit for the scheme they play now.
That's fine. That makes sense. I mean, if he's not, then there's no sense in keeping him when you can maybe get something for him. So I definitely see that. But I mean, they're playing with the Raiders for the first round pick this year anyway. So I think it's kind of over for them.
No, the Raiders would be picking 4th. If the season ended now, the Raiders would be picking 4th. Yeah. It's the Giants, the 49ers, and the Cardinals are 1, 2, 3.
Don't worry, you guys had your bye, so you'll catch up this week.
Hey, we're tanking for Frank. I don't know who Frank is, but he's going to be some guy who runs a real fast 40.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's not talk about them until we have to. But yeah, so we're both taking the Redskins by a lot. So let's move on. It's Seahawks at Lions. I don't have a lot to say about this game, honestly, because the Seahawks are super not fun to watch, and actually the Lions aren't either. Even though the Lions actually been pretty frisky and kind of interesting this year. They're 3-3, which now
that they're giving Kerryon Johnson the ball, they're actually competitive, and I think people are going to be surprised.
Right, I agree. He's very good. He destroyed New England, and I also got to say that that dude they got in the receiving core, Kenny Galladay, yeah. Dude is sick. Dude is really good. He's very interesting to me. I've actually started playing him in FanDuel pretty much every week because he's very good. So, yeah, it's just not the same Seahawks team that we used to know. They're pretty much everyone that we used to know and love off that Seahawks team, or if you're me, used to know and hate, is gone, except for, Russell Wilson and a couple guys, but I mean, and Doug Baldwin, really, that's all I can think of. Like, everyone else is kind of gone. So,
ain't got the money to pay everybody.
Yeah, I mean, and that's fine. They won a Super Bowl. That's what you want, I mean, they didn't win as many as they probably could have or should have because they should have run the ball. Could have had 2.
Hand the ball off.
But hey, thanks for that, Pete Carroll. But it's just not the same team anymore, And I don't find them fun to watch anyway, personally. Detroit can be kind of fun sometimes, but I also feel like Detroit's the NFC version of the Chargers, where they're really explosive and they should be winning more than they do, but they're gonna screw it up somehow. So. I'm taking Detroit at home. If it was in Seattle, I'd probably take Seattle. They're both 3-3 teams. They're both pretty similar. But Detroit's kind of rolling right now, and I think that they're going to continue that. So I might be wrong about the whole Matt Patricia sucks thing, but I don't think I am. But I'm still picking Detroit this week.
Yeah, I got Detroit. They got Matt Stafford, who can usually keep you in games as long as he doesn't have dislocated collarbones and shoulders and stuff busted. They got 3 different receivers with 3 touchdowns. LeGarrette Blount's got 3 touchdowns. They finally figured out that they do actually have a running back who can get 100 yards in a game twice in a row. Thanks, Kerryon Johnson. So I think, and not only that, but statistically, defensively, they're not terrible. They're 15th. They're like middle of the road. Rushing is 11th. Yada yada. I think the Lions are going to improve. I wouldn't be surprised to see them make a wild card run at some point.
I wouldn't be surprised. Hot take, real quick. I'm sorry. I wouldn't be surprised if they won that division.
I don't think that'll happen. But
I'm just saying, I wouldn't be shocked.
I would be pretty surprised because everybody was picking the Vikings or the Packers. So if the Vikings, lowly Lions with a rookie coach come out and win the NFC North, I would be pretty surprised.
I don't know, man. Vikings are 4-2-1. Packers are 3-2-1. They're not that. I mean, I think so. If the Packers are, I'm actually asking real quick because I don't know this. If the Packers are 3-2-1 and the Lions are 3-3, who's the better record?
Packers.
Okay, because I didn't know if the tie was worse or not. I didn't know if it hurt them or more or not.
It's better because they didn't lose.
That checks out. Didn't think about that. So there you go. That was a dumb question. But I had to know.
Not really.
Well, I mean, I just never knew. I never thought about it because I don't really see. You know what I mean? So I mean, the NFL we're tying now in the NFL all the time. So, but yeah, I think you made a lot of great valid points about them, and I agree with them. So I mean, yeah, Detroit. Let's move along. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Cincinnati Bengals. This still
cracks me up. Seeing the Buccaneers as number 1 offense, number 1 passing offense.
Are they still?
Still, yeah.
Well, to be fair, they've actually been scoring even when since Jameis has been back. They've been putting up points. They got into a shootout with Atlanta a couple weeks ago, and then who did they just play? Oh, they just beat Cleveland in overtime. They scored 26 points. So, you know, I mean, the last game that they had that was actually bad was they got their ass beat in Chicago 10-48 when Mitch the God Trubisky threw like 6 touchdowns, but which I think was a total aberration. But they've been able to score.
Yeah, no, I agree.
What do you think about this game, Cincinnati? I mean, because Cincinnati just got their lunch. They got their lunch made. That's all I'm gonna say. They got their. I don't even know if that's. I think I just made up that phrase. Did I?
I think so.
They were literally given a lunch that was made for them by
Kansas City.
Thank you, by Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. So, hey, it's at home. It's in Cincinnati.
I mean, the only impressive win that they've got to me, and it's only kind of impressive, is against Baltimore. I mean, they lost to Carolina. They barely beat Atlanta, who had no defense. They gave up 420 yards passing to Matt Ryan.
And they should have lost. They should have lost that Colts game.
Yeah, they not barely, but they beat Miami. But okay,
it was after
Miami.
It was after we figured out Miami's actually fine, but they're not that good. They're not 3-0 like they started.
Well, it was the game that Tannehill got hurt in too, so it was like.
Oh, that's fair. That sucks when your quarterback gets hurt.
Yeah, and then they lost to Pittsburgh, who we've all concluded is not really as awesome as they usually seem to be.
Right.
And then they got smoked by Kansas City. So
in Kansas City, which I can't really blame them for, but I can't also.
Yeah, everybody kind of gets smoked by Kansas City except teams that don't. But
the Patriots.
I don't know what to do. Neither team's good.
I think this is going to be the exact same game Tampa Bay played last week, which was like 26-23 in overtime. But I think it's going to be Cincinnati that wins it.
Yeah, because they're playing in Cincinnati. Last time they were playing in Tampa.
Yeah, and I know I'm like a broken record week to week with this, but if they're pick'em games, and I've actually been picking them pretty well this year, I've actually been doing pretty good. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but I am going to because I've actually been doing good at it. It's just what my default is. If there's 2 teams that I think could end up in a pretty close game, I'm taking the home team. It's just a smart move, you know?
Yep. So let's go to cold and rainy Soldier. It's not Soldier Field anymore. Wherever Chicago plays. And the Jets and the Bears.
Yes. It is still Soldier Field.
Huh?
It is still Soldier Field.
Is it still Soldier Field?
Yeah, I was like, what?
I thought they renamed it to something. Oh, yeah, it is still Soldier Field.
Yeah, I was like,
I thought they
what?
renamed it to, like, Bank of America's sister's cousin's house or something.
Yes, that would be... No, I think that's a parallel. I think the Panthers Stadium is Bank of America, sisters and brothers, cousins' house. Yeah, Jets, Bears. What do you think? Two pretty solid defenses, actually. And two quarterbacks that I'm not sure are any good, but might be.
Well, here's the thing. Well, Chicago lost to Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers crippled comeback. Barely beat Seattle, who I'm pretty sure everybody knows is not really that good of a team. They barely beat Arizona by 2, who I'm pretty sure everybody knows is not a really good team. They smoked Tampa Bay, which is the game that Fitzmagic unmagicked. Barely beat Miami. Or no, they barely lost to Miami, but I mean, it's Brock Osweiler.
They should have lost. They should have beat Miami too. They really should have.
Everybody should beat Miami, but
agree.
I don't know. So I mean, I don't trust anything about Chicago.
I don't either.
But
it's hard.
But I don't trust anything about the Jets either. I mean, let's not get that confused with anything else.
I don't like Chicago's offense. I don't understand not using Jordan Howard as much as they don't. Like, I feel like they should be running him into the ground and they don't use him. I don't get it. I get Tariq Cohen is this dude who's like a lightning rod for that offense, and I do get that, and he's sick, but I don't get trying to like be an air raid offense with Mitch Trubisky when you've got those two guys in the backfield. I just don't understand it. It's kind of weird to me because he's not. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't. I don't like you said. You said it perfectly. I don't trust anything about the Bears. Honestly, on either side, I don't trust either of these teams at all. So I mean, but I'm taking it because I'm, like I said, it's in Chicago, so I'm taking the Bears because I don't know who to trust, but I can trust that I think that defense will at least play well enough to lift them up at home on Sunday while it's cold and crappy weather.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The Jets, they smoked Detroit.
They did.
Then they lose to Miami, lose to Cleveland, lose to Jacksonville. Then they smoke the Broncos, almost beat Andrew Luck, and then get smoked by Minnesota.
Right. So they've really only lost.
I mean, it's like, I don't know. It's like looking at the Bears schedule. It's the same thing. It's like they beat teams they shouldn't beat and lose teams they should beat.
But you know what scares me is the Bears are heavily picked to win this game over the Jets, and that's the kind of thing where we're looking at Sunday, like 2:45 Eastern time. Ugh, the Jets are up 13 on the Bears. You know what I mean? And the Bears, by the way, the Bears almost beat New England. Not like, okay, let me rephrase that. They didn't almost beat New England, but they were in that game up until like the third quarter when New England was like, okay, let's actually stop turning the ball over and giving, because the Bears had 2 special team turnovers that they forced in basically inside their own or inside the opponent's 30 against New England. So like they had 2 touchdown drives that were probably like 30. Well, one was a field goal actually, but they had 2 red zone things that were like nothing. You know, they were spotted almost 10 points by New England in the first half of that game. But New England ended up actually last week having a kick return for a touchdown and a punt return. Or excuse me, it wasn't a punt return. It was a blocked punt return for a touchdown. So the Bears definitely have to do. If I had to guess, they're tightening up special teams work this week in practice. But I think they'll get that stuff tightened up. I think it was just a bad day, like a really bad day for that special teams unit.
So who you got?
I'm taking Chicago. I just can't pick New York on the road when they're 3-4 and it's in the Soldier Field. I just find that hard to do.
I'm taking the Jets.
Hey man, you got to catch up to me somehow.
I think this is the only game we've picked different. But
no,
I'm taking the Jets.
Wait a minute, is it? Who'd you take? Cleveland, so. Pittsburgh.
Steelers.
And who'd you take? Detroit, Seattle.
Detroit.
Oh yeah, that is a first game. So you're out on a limb here. I like it.
Well, they both suck, and I just think
Yeah.
that Darnold will suck less than Trubisky will, and
That's fair. I just don't know if I mean, because there's always those days when the defense is just like, yeah, we're at home, we're good, let's play like it, and they just they control the whole thing from the get go, and I got a feeling that's what I feel like that's what Chicago's gonna do. So, but let's move on because I'm not gonna watch that game. Who cares? Sorry.
Ravens at the Panthers.
I'm excited for this game. No, I am. Bro, I'm telling you, this Baltimore defense is the real deal, dude. I don't want to see this defense in January if I'm a New England fan because they've given us problems in the past, and I hate the Ravens anyway. But I'm telling you right now, this defense is good. They're very good. And
the offense isn't terrible.
No, it's not. It's really not. And they've got pieces that people aren't really thinking about. But John Brown's been awesome this year for them. He's been really good. He's bounced back after a bad year last year. And also they got Michael Crabtree, who's that dude. Like, I love Michael Crabtree. Watching him play, he's got to be one of my top 10 most fun receivers to watch, actually catch, because he's so good. He's sick. I love Michael Crabtree. And the Panthers on the other side of the ball, the Panthers have been playing pretty well as of lately too. They started off. I want to look this up because I want to get this right. They didn't start off great. I know that they were. So yeah, they were 1-2, they were 1-2, and they'd only beat Dallas, who was only scored 8 points that week, and then they lost to Pittsburgh and Atlanta, and they finally started to get their stuff together. Except a couple weeks ago they did lose to Washington, but I mean they beat Philly, they beat Cincinnati. I don't know, just
barely beat the Giants.
They did barely beat the Giants, but they're 4-2. This is the kind of game where if Carolina wants to make a playoff push here, because I don't know if they'll be able to catch the Saints if the Saints keep going the way they're going, they've got to win a game like this, because if they drop a game like this, they're going to be one game out in week 17, and it's going to kill them. So I'm picking Carolina at home, and it's not just because they're home, but I do think Cam Newton's playing much better than he was, and then the whole team was at the beginning of the year. And Baltimore's a good defense, but I think Carolina's got a pretty good defense too. So and I don't know. I just because I mean, who do they play? The Panthers just played the Eagles, right? And they were down 17-0 on the road and came back and won that game. They scored 21 straight points, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying.
But they ain't gonna do that against the Ravens.
No, but I don't think they'd have to. That's the thing. I don't think they'll be down 17-0. I think they finally woke up on the road and were like, "Hey, wait a minute, let's actually do this." And you know what I mean? I don't think they'll have that issue. I don't think I'd be shocked if they were down more than 10 points in the second half at all to this team, because I don't know. It's just me. I think Carolina's getting right in the groove, and then my MVP Cam Newton pick's going to look good soon. Hopefully, it won't. It won't. Patrick. But to be fair, I get a mulligan. I get a mulligan on that. I just want to say that because I didn't foresee the Patrick Mahomes outburst, so I get a mulligan. It doesn't count. I could have picked anybody. It don't matter. So, who you got for this game?
Ravens.
Yeah. Good defense. It's really good defense. And like I said, I like
better defense, better offense.
Better than Carolina?
Yeah.
So, are you saying that because statistically they are better, or is it because you actually genuinely believe they're better too? Because because obviously I know you probably take Cam over Joe Flacco, and I like Christian McCaffrey. Huh?
No.
You would not take Cam Newton over Joe Flacco?
No.
Really?
Really. Mind-boggling, isn't it?
A little. It is. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's weird. Why? I mean, I'm curious.
Well, I mean...
See, you don't have a reason. You just said it. I don't think you believe it.
No, I mean, so... because, okay.
You can't take Joe Flacco over Cam Newton. You can't do that.
Yeah, I can.
I mean, you could, but you shouldn't.
Well, he's got almost 700 yards more passing in less games, or the same amount of games.
Well, no, Flacco's played one more game and he's lost it, but they both won 4 games. because Ravens are 4-3 and the Panthers are 4-2, but because Panthers already.
Well, the Ravens will be 5-3 after the weekend.
Hey man, more power to you, but I still didn't hear a reason why they're gonna win that, or why you take Flacco over Cam. That's all I wanted to say. But we can move on if you want. I'll let you back away from that take if you want to.
It's not a backing off. It's just an inconsistency that I cannot get my head around.
With Cam Newton?
Yeah.
Okay, that is a really, really fair assessment of him because I feel the same way. He's got so much freaking talent, and he should be so much better than he is.
That's my thing. Am I getting, mobile Aaron Rodgers running around throwing touchdowns, or am I getting mobile Rex Grossman running around throwing interceptions?
Right, and that's been his biggest problem, I think, is his inaccuracy over the years, and he's had stretches of games throughout different seasons where he's strung together really accurate performances, but then he just will go off the rails for a month, and it's like, bro, what are you doing? Like, come on. So if you say it like that, I guess I know what I'm going to get from Joe Flacco. I just can't.
It's just not exciting. It's just the same old boring 270 yards and 2 touchdowns and maybe an interception.
Yeah, he's
like, but he's ninth in passing in
like
NFL
Smith
right now. Newton's 22nd.
Yeah, I think Joe Flacco is very comparable to Alex Smith.
He's got a better arm. And then you're throwing the number 1 rated defense against the 13th.
Right.
I got the Ravens.
Right. No, I agree with you. I'm just saying, like, the Panthers don't have a bad defense. Like you said, they're 13th. So I agree with you, though. But the Ravens, I agree. I totally agree with everything you said, except that you would take Flacco over him. But I do get the whole scared of of Cam Newton's inconsistencies. I just can't leave that talent alone, personally. And I don't know. I think McCaffrey's coming on. I'm pretty let down by Devin Funchess, to be honest with you. I'm kind of let down by him. But I'm taking Carolina, and you've got Baltimore. So that's our second one that we've differed on opinion of, right?
Second in a row, and I bet you this next one will be the same thing. We're going to go to the first 4 o'clock game. The Indianapolis Captain Andrew Luck Colts facing, they're 2-5. Facing, which I think they're better than 2-5, but let's not go there. Facing my Tank for Frank Oakland Raiders. I pick the Raiders because when I pick them, they lose. And that's all I have to say about that.
And you want them to lose, right?
Yep. I've been saying it every week.
All right,
this year is not a Super Bowl year, so
I'm going to read you a tweet. Dearest mother, I have received your care package. I have received your care package of antler bread and fresh squirrel oil. We continue our march to the land of oak. Our scouts report the area is vast but empty. The ground itself black, riddled with bones. The sea silver in color, most disturbing. Captain Andrew Luck. So that's basically sums up the kind of environment in the year that the Oakland Raiders are having. Traded Khalil Mack beginning of the year. Traded Amari Cooper this week to the Dallas Cowboys, which, by the way, not a bad trade. Got a first-round pick. I'm not sure you want to pay Amari Cooper the kind of money he's going to want, but that's a whole other conversation.
Well, he's guaranteed 13.9 next year. It's done deal.
Right. So
and then you still got to try to sign him, and
exactly.
Then he's going to want more.
Exactly, and I'm not sure I'd pay him that because he drops too much. He drops too many passes. So I actually don't hate that trade, especially if you're 1-5. Why not get first-round picks? Why not? That's not a bad idea at all. So I'm not mad at that trade. I'm mad at the Khalil Mack trade still. We've talked about it. I get what you're saying. I think that you have really valid points. I still don't think I would have traded him personally, but I'm not mad at all at the Amari Cooper trade. That was a good trade. Colts have been playing really well.
I don't know how they're 2-5. I really don't.
Well, okay, so they should be 3-4 definitively because Jack Doyle just doesn't fumble that catch, and I think that they drive down and beat Cincinnati week 1. So then they're 3-4, and they also should have beaten who was it? It was Houston. They should have beaten. Remember? And they went for it on that 4th down, and they just didn't convert.
Yep.
That would have been 4-3. And then they should have beaten. There was another team too. Oh, they should have beat Philly. They had the chance.
Yep.
So really, they should be 5-2. They've been in a lot of close games and just haven't been able to capitalize on opportunities. So that's kind of been the story of the Colts this year. They genuinely could be 5-2, even though they're 2-5. Like it's really wacky. but it's very accurate. Now the Raiders should definitely be 1-5. Not good.
No, they should not.
You don't think they should be 1-5? What should they be?
No, they should be 2-4. Maybe even 3-4.
Are you factoring in that they didn't deserve to win that Browns overtime game too?
Oh, they deserved to win that game.
Oh, I don't know about that, man. There was some. I don't know about that.
But they screwed the pooch playing Denver, and they screwed the pooch playing Miami. Those are both games they should have won, and they did stupid stuff that made them lose that game.
Right.
Well, but hey, that's good. Tank for Frank.
You don't even know who Frank is. Is there a Frank?
I don't know. There might be.
So you're taking the Raiders because you've got what's it called? I'm sorry. You're taking the Raiders, right? Because you're picking against them because you want them to lose so that they get the first overall pick. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm taking the Colts because I want them to win because Andrew Luck's fun to watch play football, and they really should probably be 4-3, and I hope they end up 9-7 just so that they can maybe get in the wild card in the AFC or win that division. You know what I mean? So, because what's crazy is I'm not even sure that division's actually out of reach because the Jaguars are 3-4, so it's not like the division's out of the reach.
True.
So yeah, I'm taking the Colts. You're taking the Raiders. But between you and me and probably no one listening, you do think the Colts are going to win, right?
Yeah, probably by 2 touchdowns, I would guess.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just wanted to get that on record because not to crap on the Raiders, but I just because I know what you're doing, but I agree with you. So let's move on to what might be a fun game, but also could be a sad game for Aaron Rodgers. The Green Bay Packers, the Pack.
Hey.
Yes.
You want to do the Niners and Cardinals first or not?
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong schedule. I'm sorry. I'm looking at something on ESPN. My bad. Well, honestly, I just thought that game was so trash. I skipped over it.
I was going to say, we can just toss a coin. No, that's actually, fine. I think the Niners will win that game.
Yeah. I'm picking the 49ers in that game. I don't have a lot to say. They're both 1-6. They're both garbage. Patrick Peterson came out earlier this week and said, please trade me. And then he had a 30-minute meeting with the president and I think owner, Mike Bidwell of our Arizona Cardinals, and they talked, and Patrick Peterson was reassured that they are committed to winning. Obviously not this year, but so he wants to stay. He's going to be a Cardinal for life, he said. So that's cool. At least they kept him. I'm not sure it's the right move for Patrick Peterson, but more power to him. He's loyal. That's awesome.
Maybe he likes the desert.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know he's got a family and they're content there, so you never know. Who knows? But
Scottsdale is a really nice place.
Exactly. So, especially, it's probably cheap too, if I had to guess.
Yeah, nominal.
Yeah. Pretty much anywhere is cheap for Patrick Peterson.
Touche. I will give everybody a heads up. I did not win $1.6 billion last night.
Nope, I didn't either. I didn't play either. But yeah, back to this real quick, and then we'll move on. I think C.J. Beathard is better than a hurt Josh Rosen, who I don't even know is going to play. He is back to practice. But I'm going to just say one thing, and one thing only. Steve Wilkes, I know you're listening. I know it's you on YouTube listening to us. I know there's no one else. When are you going to freaking utilize David Johnson? Just let me know.
Hey,
thank you.
Hey, they fired Mike McCoy now. Now Byron Leftwich is the offensive coordinator. So
right,
that's why this is. Oh, actually, you know what?
Are you going to change?
I'm taking the Cardinals.
That's fine. Maybe they'll run David Johnson to the ground because he really hasn't been utilized at all this year, and it's kind of insane.
Byron Leftwich is a real creative dude. I like Byron Leftwich.
He was fun to watch in the NFL, and I'll always remember every time he used to play, they'd pretty much in like a close game or a primetime game, they'd always show him when he basically, what did he do? Break both of his legs or something? And when he was in college at Marshall, and the teammates were actually carrying him down, and he'd do the drive, and then he
had severe leg cramps. He couldn't hardly move, so they'd pick him up and carry him down to the next in that comeback. Yeah, that was a good game. I watched that game. That was a good game.
In Marshall.
Anyways,
at Marshall.
So. Huh?
No, I was just saying that was when he played for Marshall. But I remember they always showed that on like primetime Byron Leftwich games. And I was like, holy crap! So I just remember that. That's my Byron Leftwich story because I no offense, I don't remember him doing a lot in the NFL, but that's just me.
He did okay, but he was always on teams that were not okay.
The Jaguars.
The Buccaneers.
Yeah.
And then he was a backup for the Steelers and the Cardinals, but those don't count because he was a backup by then. So let's get past the battle of one in who gives a crap games.
Niners, right? Or are you taking Cardinals?
I'm taking Cardinals.
Okay, yeah, I'm still taking Niners because I think C.J. Beathard's not bad. He's actually decent. So and I like their front seven. So
Packers at Rams.
Yes. So now, like I was saying, and I'm sorry that I was interrupted by a 1-6 matchup versus 1-6 battle of the NFC West. Rams heavily favored as they should be. Aaron Rodgers looks healthier, but they have holes on that team at a lot of different spots, and he's kind of plugging them up with all his. It's like a boat that's like should be sinking, and he's just putting all of his Aaron Rodgers fingers in each of the little holes, and he's just about out of fingers. So gonna have to use his thumbs because thumbs aren't fingers. But once he uses those, like he's really out of he's doing everything he can for that team, and I am surprised they're 3-2-1 because they shouldn't be. They're not that good, I don't think. The Rams, however, are that good. The Rams, I wish we're in the AFC so that we could get to see them play the Chiefs in the playoffs without the Patriots having to not be involved so later on. But because I definitely don't want to see the Chiefs Rams Super Bowl. I mean, I wouldn't be mad, but I obviously I want New England to go. But I mean, the Chiefs,
dude, that game would be an offensive nightmare.
It would be. Somebody would score in the 60s, and it would be glorious. It'd probably be the Rams. I'm just gonna tell you right now, if that was the Super Bowl, I'd pick the Rams. But let's move. But I digress. The Rams, 7-0, man. So I was listening to the Bill Simmons pod this week. Yeah.
Can I interrupt real quick?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
You do know that Week 11 is Kansas City at LA.
No crap. Is it really?
In Mexico City.
Oh, we get a neutral field?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I am excited for that game. I did not know that. I did not know that, dude. Okay. Yeah, it's a party. It's on Monday Night Football.
Yep.
Oh. Holy crap, that's going to be so much fun. And it's in LA, which is cool because LA's not super hard to play.
It's in Mexico.
Oh, yeah. You're right. I'm sorry. You already said that too. That's my fault. So it's a neutral field. So we basically get a Super Bowl in Week 11.
Yep. That's the Super Bowl on November.
I cannot wait for that game. I'm giddy right now. I can't wait for that game. Oh, wow. I did not know that. Because I didn't look at either of the schedules because I just don't care.
I only know because Kansas City's in the AFC West, and I know that the Raiders are also, and I know that we play the NFC West this year because we opened with the Rams.
Right, you opened with them and played the first half well and then lost. But I do remember that game because I fell asleep in the second half.
Yep, we were leading in the third quarter.
Exactly.
At the end of the third quarter.
Exactly. So no, the Rams are going to continue their dominant streak. They're going to beat Green Bay. I don't think Green Bay's got enough to challenge them. It would take a severely bad performance by Goff and Todd Gurley for Aaron Rodgers, I think, to overcome this team. And I'm just not sure that both those guys on the same day are going to be bad ever. I just can't count on that. You know what I mean? So, by the way, the thing I wanted to say before you were talking about that they play the Chiefs later this year, I was listening to the Bill Simmons podcast this week when they were doing guest lines with Cousin Sal. And apparently Cousin Sal said, I don't know if this was true or not, but he said that Todd Gurley is minus 400 to score every week, which is crazy because he's going to score every week. Like, he's on pace for like 30 touchdowns, isn't he?
I don't know. It's a lot.
It's a crap load, dude. I want to see real quick. He's got, maybe it's not 30. He's got 11 this year so far. That's crazy.
11 rushing, 3 receiving.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm sorry. Todd Gurley's just the best running back in football, and you couldn't convince me otherwise. Yeah, Rams. I'm taking. Who are you taking? You think Aaron Rodgers got a shot?
Nope.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Next game.
Who do we got next? It's Sunday Night Football, right?
Yes.
Oh.
The Saints and the Vikings.
Oh, we've got the Miracle at... what do they call that game? There was a name for it.
It was the Miracle in Minneapolis.
There you go. So, 5-1 Saints, the 4-2-1 Minnesota Vikings. I bet you and I pick a different team on this game. What do you think about this game? I want to know, because we've got one more game after this, and our pod's done, but the next game's not interesting whatsoever. So I really want to talk about this game because we're doing good on time, and I want to know what you think. Because this is actually a very interesting game to me.
Well, I think the Saints' defense is getting better.
Yeah.
I think they've got enough offensive weapons, and the Vikings' defense is not as good as it was last year.
Right.
I think the Saints are going to take this game.
Okay. So then we're actually not going to pick different teams, because I'm also taking the New Orleans Saints because they've been a much better defense lately. And I got to tell you, we talked about this last week, and so the Saints played the Ravens in Baltimore last week, the number one defense in football. And I told you, Drew Brees does not, because it's historically accurate, Drew Brees does not play that well on the road outside. And they're playing the number one defense. And I was like, there's just no way that Baltimore loses that game. Lo and behold, they beat the Ravens by 24-23. So that proves to me that team is mentally tough, because that's not an easy thing to do. It's going to Baltimore and win anyway, especially when their defense is very good. They blew out the Redskins on Monday Night Football, and Drew Brees has thrown for 500 touchdowns now. I think New Orleans is like a sleeping giant. Like, they're 5-1, but no one's really talking about them at like they're 5-1. You know?
Yeah.
I'm taking New Orleans too. I think they're just better. I really do. And like you said, I do think their defense is getting better, which, it was the case last year too, because I don't remember what they started. They might have started like 1-2 or something last year, and their defense was just atrocious. And it actually picked up a lot near the middle and the end of the year. So it's kind of the same deal with them this year. And then they actually ended up making the playoffs. And this year they're almost definitively going to make the playoffs. So, yeah, I'm saying New Orleans. So I thought you were going to take Minnesota here. I really did, but no.
No, because the only game New Orleans lost is that Fitzmagic game to open the season that was obviously an aberration of Fitzmagic.
It's freaking crazy. And they almost won that game too. It was a close game. Drew Brees actually came back, and he put the pressure on Tampa Bay to make sure that they kept their foot on the pedal, because Drew Brees was like, all right guys, let's see if I can throw 7 touchdowns. So or whatever the hell Fitzpatrick threw, 6-5 touchdowns, something crazy. Yeah, so all right, we're both taking New Orleans. I can't wait to watch that game. That's going to be fun. Sunday Night Football too, so that's going to be a good one.
It's either going to be a good game or it's going to be over by the middle of the second quarter, in which case I'll get more work done that way. But it's got potential to be a really good game.
Yeah.
So now we go. Huh?
No, I was just going to say, I do think it's going to be fun. I think this one's going to be one where it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be a game where either team unexpectedly pulls really far ahead. I think there's going to be a back and forth haymaker fight, and I'm excited for it. So.
Yep, could be.
Yeah.
So now we go to
Monday Night Football.
Yeah, I hate the Bills because I picked. I don't remember who they even played now, but Minnesota. I picked Minnesota in my pick'em league.
In the FanDuel one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and the freaking Bills go off for 41 points against the Vikings. Lord.
Yeah.
I'm picking the Patriots. In what world does anybody really think that the Bills are going to beat the Patriots?
So the Bills the defense has been playing much better as of late. They've been semi-competitive. Derek Anderson is probably going to be the quarterback again.
Yep.
And, how often do you get to just pick against Derek Anderson? How often do you give me, freebies like this? You know what I mean? I'd pick... Let me think. There might be one team in the NFL that I wouldn't pick them right now against Buffalo, and it's probably Arizona. I'd probably still pick Buffalo over Arizona, but everybody else, I think I'd take over Buffalo right now, especially Derek Anderson, Buffalo. So, yeah, it's your New England Football Patriots by 20, by 14, by whatever. Just New England historically, they've gotten some trouble against Buffalo in Buffalo, but not past like 2 years because they've really been not that good.
Well, that's when they had players, though.
Right, they had like a good, I mean, you can say what you want, but Rex Ryan had a good, he had some stuff going, and he also had like the whole. They were all insane because he probably talked to them before they would play the Patriots and say, please try to destroy Bill Belichick for me, and they all like got a million penalties every time we played them, and I was just clapping because I'm like, I love this. You guys are not disciplined at all because your coach is crazy and not good. But yeah, sorry, I have to get in any Rex Ryan shot I can. I just don't like him. But yeah, we here's the thing about New England. I was so worried at the beginning of the year when we started 1-2 that they were actually bad this year, and not like definitively bad, but I was worried that it was an actual decline for real. Does that make sense? Like, because New England is always a slow out of the gates every year in September, and so for them to come out and like beat the Chiefs, and for them to do what they've done in the last few weeks, for them to destroy Miami when they were 3-0, that really proves to me that this team forever in September is not what they're going to be in October when they're really hitting their stride, which they've done now. The last 4 weeks, I think, they've scored at least an average of 40 points. Because they've got 38, 38, 43, 38. They just beat Chicago in Chicago, and by the way, they only beat Chicago by a touchdown, but like I said, Chicago was spotted 10 points inside the Patriots' 30-yard line because they fumbled. Cordarrelle Patterson fumbled a kickoff return, and oh my God, I'm sorry. The Bears converted one of those to a field goal, and then Sony Michel went on the play that he actually got hurt. Sony Michel's out with. I don't know if he's out, but I'm expecting him to be out with a knee injury. He didn't come back in that game. He lost a fumble and they scored a touchdown. So inside their own the New England 30. So it really should have been 21-38 because then after that the Bears weren't really doing a lot. They scored a couple more times in garbage time, but the Patriots. It was never really in doubt. Even when they were down at I don't know if they were down at halftime, but they were it was close at halftime. It really wasn't in doubt. And they did that without Gronkowski. They're scoring 38 points without Rob Gronkowski. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but historically, they've been better with...
I wouldn't say they've been better, but they've been fine without him for the most part.
They've won more games without him, percentage-wise, than they've won with him.
Right, and that's probably also because he hasn't played a lot. So there's probably a big sample size, and they just kind of win anyway. He's not really a Jenga piece like Dave Dameshek says. I don't know if have you heard about that? There's
about what?
Well, Dave Dameshek's got this theory called the Jenga piece theory, where it's like you take a certain player off a team, and that team just falls apart. Like he said, Cam Chancellor that year when their defense was pretty bad for Seattle before he actually came back. The year he was holding out for a month and a half. He said that he was one of the Jenga pieces for that defense. It's and he was saying that I'm pretty sure he's actually said that Gronkowski's actually not a Jenga piece for them. It's just a little interesting Dave Dameshek thing. I don't know if you've even heard it, but I'm rambling. But yeah. Also, do we think Gronkowski's on his last leg?
I don't know. I mean...
do we think he's, not the same anymore?
That could be. He's had a lot of injuries.
The dude has been when you're 6'6" and you're 265 pounds and you're a machine, right? You need to get your ass beat to get taken down. You really do. And and that's the only way to take him down. I mean, they don't really even, I don't know. New England's weird because they've targeted him. Here's his number of targets for this first 6 weeks. Just humor me real quick. 8, 4, 5, 7, 7, 4. Rob Gronkowski should be targeted 10 plus times a game, don't you think? I mean, in theory, if a guy is if he's Rob Gronkowski, but they don't do that. And I don't know if it's because they're saving him for like the playoffs, or if it's because he just can't take it anymore because he's just so beaten up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe he's just not getting open because he's so beat up.
And that could be too. I feel like he's open enough. I mean, he's catching. Let me see. Aside from week 2 against Jacksonville, he's caught week 4 against Miami, he was 57% catch percentage. He's been over 75% for the year. So like he's catching everything. He's just not getting targeted a lot. But I don't know. It's just weird to me. Bill Simmons was talking about it too. He was like, Gronkowski's just not the same anymore, and I'm scared that it's true. And I guess I shouldn't be that scared because, as a Patriot fan, because it hasn't really hindered us, But yep. I am, so I will continue to be. But whatever. So we got New England. That was an hour podcast. We nailed it. I think we had a good podcast today. I feel good about this one. We'll be back next week to do more rambling and more Patriots talk, and then ignore all the other teams, because I'm going to dominate. I'm just kidding. Yeah. So, by the way, I just want to say this real quick because this is the end of the podcast. For the year so far, I am at, pick percentage-wise, I'm at 73.3% correct. Not bad. I just want to say that. Not bad.
Not bad at all.
So I was like to my own horn because I've actually been doing this pretty well. So yeah. So all right. That is it for the 108.1 FNFB podcast. You got anything else you want to add about the Raiders near the end, since nobody's gonna hear it?
No, not really. Right. Lose. Keep losing.
Keep losing. Yeah. So all right. We will see everyone next week.
Toodaloo!